Welcome to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform that you're listening on. All right, welcome back to another episode. Thank you for coming back once again. Please like, subscribe, comment, share as always. The handshake deal is you listen to all the content you want for free, but you do subscribe, and you do like the episode that wherever you're listening to it. Whether it be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Roku, CBS Player, wherever. YouTube, Rumble, I don't care. Click that button. Click a button that shows that you like the show. You can always follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Now that I've gotten that out of the way. Thank you to Cheers and Spirits and the Arnold Station Plaza in Arnold, Maryland for sponsoring this show. Got them on sponsoring the show for the next 6 months. So we want to thank them for helping the show out. Keeping the lights on, as they say. Although, not that the lights would go off. I live here.
Operation's not that complex.
No. My wife would kill me if the lights went off.
Yeah.
But we do want to thank them. We do appreciate the support. If you would like to support us as well as listeners of the show, please go to drivewaybeerspodcast.com/donate. You can join us on any level of membership. On the monthly recurring memberships, you can do light beer, $2 a month, craft beer, $5 a month, house whiskey at $10 a month, special occasion whiskey is $20 a month. Keep in mind, you do not get any of that. You know, it's just a level of membership to the club. Or one time, 6-pack of light beer is $9 for one time. Buy us a whiskey at a bar, it's $19 for one time. And if you want to buy us a bottle of whiskey, we'll try it on during the show for $29. And if you'd like, you can even put in the notes which bottle of whiskey you want us to try. Please don't make them awful because we are not trying to suffocate or choke ourselves.
Yeah. Or if you'd like us to stop, just make that donation big enough. And believe me, everyone has a price.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Biggest news. And we are generally about 2 weeks to 2.5 weeks behind news cycles. Just because we like to let things sit and marinate, think about things before we talk about them. Too many times you go on a YouTube or a website, or even the cable news cycle. Everyone reacts immediately, and the news cycle is gone in 2 weeks. And no one had any time to sit and think about what their response is going to be.
And they're almost all 100% wrong.
Absolutely. The big news that came out recently, and this is April 30th. So I want to say it was last week.
Yeah.
It was middle to late April.
It was a week ago.
Yeah. Tucker Carlson was removed / let go / left Fox News. Does anyone really know what happened yet?
So I try to catch his show a couple times a week. So his last show was Friday. I didn't see it. And he had the pizza guy on that tripped that dude that was running from the police.
Yeah.
And that was his last segment. And he said, okay, see you Monday. And that was it. That Monday morning, he got an email saying that the show was canceled. His executive producer was fired. And that was the end. So there was no goodbye episode. There was nothing like that. It wasn't like Dan Bongino. Bongino had a show on Saturday night. And they just couldn't come to an agreement in their contract. So I think Bongino is making enough money because he's involved with Rumble.
Yeah, he's got a contract with Rumble.
Yeah, and then he's also has a syndicated radio show and a podcast. So Bongino didn't need it. It probably just wasn't worth the money they were offering to him. And I'm not sure how much they offer a Saturday guy. You know,
I'm sure it's got to be I want to say $1 million.
Yeah.
Right, $1 million to an episode, or prefer for a season or a year, whatever. Yeah, I know Tucker was making a lot of money, and his contract was not up.
Yeah.
So I have to assume he was let go.
Mm-hmm.
And the Murdochs are just eating that money.
Yeah. Well, and they ate. So apparently, News Corp, which is the company that owns Fox, that's how they're traded as.
Yep.
Their stock has taken it's taken a big hit to the tune of almost $700 million in loss. Which is crazy. One guy could bring that whole thing down. So, or the valuation that down that much. So, but he was the leading. He wasn't only their leading guy. He was the leading guy in all cable news. He beat out all of them.
Yep.
So, and I think that we can get into some of the reasons why that probably is. A lot of people hate the guy, like hate him. He's often referred to, they'll say, "Oh, the Tucker Carlson conspiracy theorists," when you hear him. And if you actually listen to what he has to say, it really isn't that.
Right.
He wasn't afraid to go against the grain on whatever the predominant, regime prescribed narrative was.
Right.
So,
yeah, he So I've let this know. I used to listen to MSNBC and CNN years ago, and eventually I did, as I started to lean away from that think tank, I did listen to some of Tucker Carlson, and all of the things that I had heard about him ended up not really being true from what I heard from him on his nightly show. Now, I don't listen to him regularly, but the things that he would say kind of started to make some sense, right? And I think if you listen to anyone long enough, everyone makes sense at some point, and everyone also doesn't make sense at some point. So you're going to find things to agree and disagree with. But it reminds me of the fact that of earlier Howard Stern. So when Howard Stern went to NBC, if anyone's seen the movie Private Parts, this will kind of jog your memory. But essentially, the head of NBC Radio was looking to fire Howard Stern after he went to NBC. And the guy who runs the numbers said, well, wait a minute. He's the highest rated DJ in the morning. And so essentially he kind of went through the numbers. He's like, okay, the average listener listens for 20 minutes. The people that like him listen for an average of 15 minutes. Reason being, they want to hear what he has to say next. Mm-hmm. The average listener that doesn't like him listens for 35 minutes, so they listen longer. Reason being, they want to hear what he has to say next. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, imagine Tucker's a little bit in that same boat where don't get me wrong, he's got a lot of people that like to hear what he has to say. And yes, it could be an older demographic, but it could also be that people don't like what he has to say, so they listen to him more. Yeah.
But because he was he was willing to go against the prescribed narrative so often.
Yep.
It could be people were just, they were tired of hearing the talking points. And you've seen those supercuts where they have all of the media talking heads and they're all saying the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Almost like in unison. It's like they're getting the talking points from the central office and they're like, oh, got to say this now. And they do.
Right.
He didn't do that. And, one of the things that I liked about him, he had Jimmy Dore on as a guest all the time. Mm-hmm. MSNBC wouldn't have Jimmy Dore on.
Right.
And Jimmy Dore's a leftist. But Tucker would have him on all the time.
Right.
Tucker would have Glenn Greenwald on there. So he would hear other opposing views or people from the other side of the aisle or from the other side of the spectrum, and he'd have conversations with them.
Yeah.
So, you didn't see Don Lemon doing that, who also got fired. But no one really seems to care about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Don Lemon he got removed from his show, his late night show. He got put on a daytime show. And his show had Vivek Ramaswamy on it. Now, for people that don't know, Vivek Ramaswamy is running for president under a Republican ticket. And so they did have a Republican on the show. I'll give them some credit there, but the problem is that he and Don Lemon disagreed on something. And Don Lemon essentially told him, well, because you're not black, you can't speak on this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Vivek Ramaswamy is an Indian American. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not exactly a white dude. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
so. He's basically trying to tell him, look, white man, you can't talk to me about this because you're not black. Meanwhile, he forgot to point out that he wasn't white.
Yeah.
You can't pull that, especially if you're trying to have a presidential candidate on.
Well, he also said that Nikki Haley was past her prime.
Yeah, that was a bad look.
He got into it with the two hosts. One is Poppy something.
Poppy Harlow, yeah.
Yeah, he got into it with them. And then also it's AM. like AM, like if you look at the news, like the AM stuff isn't as serious. I guess that dumb show on MSNBC with Scarborough.
Morning Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get more into serious stuff, but generally your AM show it's all fluff and like some asshole making food.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what type of bag should I take on my next flight? And then they have some bimbo go up there and say, "Oh, I take this one," like some experts.
Sure.
It's all payola.
Right.
That's all it is. But
it's product placement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like this one. You like that one because they wrote you a check. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm not hating on you.
No, get that money. You know what I mean? Get that money. Yeah. So with the Tucker situation, some people think it has to do with the Dominion lawsuit that got settled because he was pushing a narrative. Mm-hmm. Dominion sued them for, I guess, defamation or whatever it was, and they won. They settled. They settled for like $700-something million.
Yeah.
And some people think that part of the settlement was that Tucker had to go. Or some people think that Rupert Murdoch just didn't want Tucker around because he cost him $700 million or so.
Yeah.
Well, what he didn't understand was he cost himself another $700 million in company valuation.
Yeah.
By letting him go. And the reason why stockholders dropped the stock had nothing to do with the firing. It had everything to do with you got rid of your highest rated host.
Yeah.
I mean, he outperformed people in his segment by over, I think it was 2.5 million viewers a night.
Yeah.
Like nothing on CNN or MSNBC got over 1 million viewers.
Yep.
He was getting almost 3.5 million viewers a night.
Well, his YouTube video that he released that Monday got 12 million views.
Right.
Just on YouTube. That doesn't count the views that it got on Facebook, that it got that the audio only, like that's 12 million
eyeball. Yeah. It's 12 million eyeballs. Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And when you're a cable news network and you see that all the other cable news networks, the viewership is going down, that means the ad rates are going down. You literally you bit the hand that fed you, basically. And I don't think anyone's ever really going to know what the real reason was.
Yeah, and I'm sure because he's still under contract with them.
Correct.
So they might say, "Oh, we're going to put a non-complete in your severance deal. There's non-compete." I think he should say, "No, I don't need your money. I'm going to go make so much money without it."
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, the thing is, though, I don't think they have to do that. I think they can just let the contract right out. Mm-hmm. Like literally, just pay him the contract to not do a show, and he still can't go and do another show though.
Yeah.
So some people, he's going to push for a buyout at somehow, some way.
Because he was on with, he also did a lot on their Fox Nation too.
Yeah. And
I don't know, like the Dominion thing. I don't know a whole lot about that. I mean, a little bit. But also, I actually watched the episode where he said this. He went after Big Pharma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In his monologue, kind of his opening segment. And he drew the comparison between, if they're pushing drugs on you, their main principal advertisers are Big Pharma. And then they're pushing drugs on you and saying and then you can't join polite society unless you use these products. And he said, imagine if Fox did it with MyPillow and said, you have to use if you don't get MyPillow, then you're going to die of a heart attack. And everyone has to have and if you don't have a MyPillow, we're going to track you and make sure that you can't come out and, have a job. And part of me wants to say that, because I can be a bit of a conspiracy guy sometimes, probably want to say Big Pharma's like, you're not coming after us. And if you look at any commercial, and I say it all the time, my wife laughs at me. I'll go, brought to you by Pfizer. They all, entire shows, like the Oscars, brought to you by Pfizer.
Yep.
You know, they're the biggest advertisers there are is Big Pharma. Yeah. Next time and this goes out to the audience too, like next time you're watching TV, which I don't watch a lot of regular TV, but the next time say you're watching a game, that's about the only time I watch commercials, is watching a game. See how many of the commercials are drug commercials. Half of them are for drugs. Yeah. You know, restless leg, the shit they invent.
As my knee's bopping up and down, but I don't need a drug to fix this. I'll just tire out.
Yeah. Like, is your dickhead open? Well, it should probably be closed.
Right.
Try Dick Closa. Brought to you by Pharma.
Dick Closa.
Like, that's the...
Do you have anal fissures?
Right. Yeah.
You can fix that with Rumswab.
Yeah.
A Pfizer vaccine.
Right.
But, yeah. And so, like, I was going to say this. So we've talked about this before. Before they would just advertise the drug, they wouldn't mention, like, the name of the producer wouldn't really be in there. Mm-hmm. So it would just be like I don't know, Dulera for chronic asthma. And then at the end of it, it'd be like, if you have trouble paying for this, contact AstraZeneca.com. Okay. But it wasn't like brought to you by AstraZeneca.
Yeah. Nowadays,
and Pfizer does this the most, and I think this goes back to the vaccine, where they're like, COVID-19 vaccine, brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Oh, yeah.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Now it's... So now, like, I watch a lot of YouTube, and there's a lot of Pfizer commercials there. So like, it'll be like Duplexa for genital herpes.
Right.
Like, I'm a gay man who has an arm rash, but I'm going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get vaccinated with Dulexa.
Yeah.
A Pfizer vaccine. And he's not, so now he's saying it's a Pfizer vaccine. Like the sales pitch guy.
Yeah.
A Pfizer vaccine.
Yeah.
It's like, that was never there before.
No. There's always some, like, it's funny because the commercials were always some, like, an older guy, but, like, good looking, and an older woman, but good looking, and they're out super active. And, like, the drug was for, like, you know, do you have chronic paralysis? And meanwhile, they're out playing tennis and, like, riding bikes. Right. Like, talk to your doctor about whatever drug. And, you know, they would... The one I hated the most was... do you have, like, something with VFib and AFib? I'm like, it's just some random dude. Like, just gets out from the hood of his car. Do you have VFib? Okay, dude working on your car. Like,
so, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar now does a commercial for one of these drugs for AFib. Like, AFib is this is a legit commercial. The leading, like, they say it's like the leading cause of stroke is AFib, atrial fibrillation. You should take, and it's like, take this drug, a Pfizer vaccine. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you're going to sell me drugs now?
Yeah.
Like, you're selling me
then they did the whole
pharmaceuticals?
Then there was the Paxlovid thing.
Oh, my God.
And, like, if it's COVID, Paxlovid. Brought to you by Pfizer.
So, did I ever tell you about that? So, my wife got COVID, and this was right after the Paxlovid came out. So, she calls the doctor. She's not feeling great. She calls the doctor. And she asked about it. She goes, what about that COVID pill? The anti-COVID pill. And so the nurse started going through. She goes, well, we can do that, but let me let you know about the side effects first. And the side effects were horrible.
So there's a funny... SNL does most of SNL is not funny anymore. Mm-hmm. What is funny is when they do the fake commercials. The fake commercials are hilarious. And the drug ones they do, and like, side effects may include death, like blood coming out of your eyeballs, blood coming out of your butt. Do not take whatever. They may always make some funny name for, like, if you're allergic to it or its ingredients, which is always like, well, maybe you should take it.
What are the ingredients? We can't tell you.
Right. But it's like, side effects include, if you die, call your doctor.
Side effects include explosive diarrhea.
Yeah. But
heart explosion.
Yeah.
Right.
When I look at these things, these drugs are always like, ask your doctor about, like, no, my doctor should know all this stuff.
Right. Correct.
I'm not asking him about that. That's what I pay him money for. Do you know this stuff?
Right.
Ask your doctor about. And that's what they're hoping, like, that some idiot's like, oh, I've got toenail fungus. Let me go ask my doctor about this,
Well, the doctors are worried, like, well, if I don't prescribe it, they're not going to come back to me and I can't earn money off of them.
Right.
Right. So I better prescribe it.
Yeah.
But you're right.
And of course the doctors know about it because some freaking farm rep with, like, with legs going up for, dressed to the nines, she just came in and, like, oh, I'll sell whatever you want.
Well, then also, like,
am I selling butthole swabs? Like, come get your butthole swabs.
Like, look, if you sell enough butthole swabs, I might have a trip to Hawaii in it for you.
Ooh, will you be there? I'll be there too.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be at this conference. We'll pay for you to go to the conference.
Yeah.
It's like, well, where's the conference? It's in Miami. It's in beautiful Miami, or it's in wonderful Las Vegas. You can come out. We'll put you up. We'll get you, a free suite at the MGM Grand or whatever hotels.
Golf trips.
Yeah, let's play some golf together while we're out there. It's on us.
Yeah.
Like, doctors do get perks.
Yeah.
From these pharmaceutical reps. And it was funny. I believe Dopesick kind of didn't show that part of it, but they did a little bit.
Yeah.
But there was another one. I can't remember which movie it was, but it kind of showed that part of it, though. And I think it was a movie. It was a movie about Viagra and how it kind of came about. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could remember the name of it. But it was kind of how, like, because Pfizer came up with Viagra too, and essentially, so Viagra was not initially made to keep your dick hard.
No,
it was made for blood pressure, I believe.
Yeah, or heart medication,
blood circulation, or something like that. And they just happened to find out during the trials, like during like the third phase of whatever, that all the men were getting like elephant dick. And so by accident they found out that Viagra was going to, and so they didn't market it for the other purpose at all.
No.
But they sure as hell went to every urologist's office and promoted it as the dick pill. Mm-hmm. And the markup on it was so high. If go and look at Pfizer's profit margin back then when Viagra first came out, before Cialis came out.
Yeah.
Like, they were giving doctors like trips for pushing it out. And of course every guy wanted it.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't want to have that?
Yeah. Even like young dudes that were trying to get there.
Well, then you're right. Then it became a recreational drug. Yeah. And so, I mean, that today is still, I believe, the highest revenue producing drug ever made.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
Like, no life-saving drug comes close.
No.
But the one to keep your dick hard is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the funny thing is, like, for guys who go into a urologist now, like, it's like, okay, well, do you want Viagra, Cialis, and I think there's one more. And it's like, you just get the pick? It's like, okay, well, let me try it. I'm sure a lot of people will go for, like, the blue one, the Viagra one, just because that's the one everyone remembers. And Cialis had probably the worst advertising campaign. Like, do you remember what it was like a man and a woman sitting in a tub overlooking a mountain?
Yeah, they were not. Who thinks of this shit?
You want to know where they should have advertised it? Should have advertised it in porn.
Yeah.
You want to screw like that guy with the moose cock?
Yeah.
Guess what? Take Cialis.
Yeah. There's some vitamin C for you, buddy.
Right. Like, that would, like, you know how many guys would buy it who saw that video?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, come on.
That's where they should have been advertising.
Hell yeah.
Not during a baseball game, during porn.
Right. I'm watching baseball, but I'm getting a stiffy watching it.
I bet you that the ad to advertise on Pornhub is probably a lot cheaper than to advertise during the Super Bowl.
Hell yeah.
And you're reaching a lot more your target audience.
Right. Right. And then, of course, now they got the ones where, like, now that they've wised up, we'll send it directly to your home discreetly.
Oh, yeah.
In the no-name box.
Different companies on the internet.
Roman, Get hymns.
Yeah.
I'm just promoting them. I don't care. I don't think, like if any of you guys want to if you guys want to sponsor the show, look, we got a spot open.
Yeah.
Like I'll take a hymns advertisement for a free product.
Yeah.
Or get Roman, get over here. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Use some hair loss stuff too. Let's while we're at it.
A little Propecia. Look, we are wide open. Gillette. Come on now.
I don't even need the discreet thing. You just chuck it on the front porch.
How about we? I mean, Gillette's not as exciting, but I mean, I shave.
Yeah.
You shave your head.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We are wide open. I am not opposed to selling out to anybody.
No.
I'd probably hawk the drug that gave you the anal fissures. You know what I'm saying?
And I'll hawk the one that cures them.
That's right. Look, I got hemorrhoids. Tucks, where you at?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The medicated pads?
Yeah.
I can sell a ton of those. We got our target audience is males in their like 35 to 65 range. We got a lot of hemorrhoids listening to this show.
Yeah.
Tucks, let's get on this.
Yeah. Let's do it. Haven't seen a commercial for you guys lately.
We literally just did 6 ads in like 2 seconds.
I know,
and none
free.
of them sponsor us.
For free. It's terrible.
Yeah. Speaking of things that we do enjoy, so we poured this before the show because we wanted this to breathe, as the wine people say. I wanted it to mellow out a little bit. So in the last episode, I talked about this distillery I went to out in West Virginia called Devil's Due Distillery. They couldn't have been nicer, and so we did the tour. We did some tastings. I really liked the whiskeys and bourbons that I tasted from them. So I ended up buying the bottle of their 90 proof. They only have one straight bourbon. It's like you got to figure out which bottle, which label to figure out. It's a small distillery. They have one straight bourbon. And so I bought it, and we're going to give it a try tonight. Again, it's Devil's Due. It's just literally called Devil's Due Straight Bourbon Whiskey. There's no other label or anything you got to worry about. Right now, as far as I know, if you're in Maryland like we are, I had to go there and get it. But we went there because we were out there. And we wanted to go do a distillery tour. So we're going to give it a try. I mean, you already tried it. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I still like it. Yeah, I like it. The one I had, all right. So when we were doing the tour, I got a taste of one that they haven't put out yet. And it was really good. It was a higher proof too. I want to say it was wow, it's going to kill me. But I want to say it was a 110 proof in the barrel still. Mm-hmm. I had some ice. I had it with some ice. But man, was it smooth. And it was sweet.
Yeah.
Like I tasted sugar. Like I thought I had some sugar in there. But I guess it's from the corn mash they do.
Okay.
There's some sweetness in it. And unfortunately, I just tried to taste it and the ice kind of got in the way. Like it was like the ice was blocking it from going into my mouth.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, I'm like, why is it working against me? So I guess I'm drinking, like I'm not getting anything.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that thing. I got like a little sip of it. I'm like I'm like a little squirrel trying to get the rest of it.
No, what's what a hamster drinks out of? Mm-hmm. It's like the little ball. You have to like knock the ball bearing out of the way. Stupid ice.
Yeah, that. That does not burn going down.
No, I had a little bit. Look, I let it mellow out too because my stomach's bothering me, but still drinking bourbon. My stomach's bothering me.
It's getting that bleach in there. Cleaning it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Like,
So this is 90 proof, 45% alcohol by volume. This was aged 4 years, and that is smooth.
Yeah. I might have some more, but it's pretty good.
It definitely has like the alcohol taste to it.
Yeah, and I'm not even going by the fact that I didn't meet these dudes, but you were telling me about them and how they're cool and so yeah, it's pretty good.
That's right. This one says it's distilled from grain, so that's why it doesn't have as much sweetness to it.
Okay.
like I said, I want him to email me whenever he gets that one out of the barrel that we tried. That was really good. It wasn't even ready yet.
Yeah.
This one's an easy drinker. This one, I believe it's a $50 bottle though, so it's more expensive than what we normally go with. But it's a very smooth. The taste is not. I'm trying to be as honest as possible because I don't want my day out there to influence my tasting of it.
Yeah.
It's funny, like I feel like it definitely disappears off my tongue fairly quickly though. Like the taste of it going in is nice. It sits there nice. It goes down easy. Mm-hmm. But as I'm sitting here now, maybe like a minute or two after I took a sip, it's almost all gone. Like I don't. There's no lingering taste with it. So I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
And some people will like that, others won't. I tend to like one that lingers a little bit, like a little bit. Like I like when the sweetness and the taste of the liquor kind of stays with you. But that's just me. I don't know. I mean, some people might. This reminds me a little bit of the Basil Hayden toast, not in the way like it's definitely a different feel on the tongue. Like that Basil Hayden toast, I felt like it evaporated really quickly. This is kind of somewhere in the middle of what we would normally drink and that, where this evaporated quicker than normal. The other stuff that we drank, like the Four Roses from the last episode, that kind of stuck around a little bit. This one definitely kind of evaporates off the tongue quicker than that, but not as quick as the Basil Hayden toast, which kind of for me, that was almost like you drank it, swallowed it, and it was almost like you were breathing like you kind of had that breath to you. So this is somewhere in the middle, but it's tasty. I like it.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So
I would. Like I said, I really want to wait for that other barrel to come out, but this one's good. If you get out there and you can get it, I would say definitely pick one up. I would like to. I really want to know what some cult bourbon members would say about it, because they'll probably be able to compare it better than we would, just because we haven't tasted as many as they have. But I don't know, from a beginner standpoint, for a 90 proof, this is in my wheelhouse. Yeah, I would drink this. I am drinking this, but you know, I would pour this if I was having one by myself, though.
Right.
And there's very few I would say that with, right? Like the ones you really like are the ones you pour when you're by yourself and you just want to drink. Yeah. You want to have a drink at the end of the night. This is one of those.
Yeah. Or for me, like, you know, sit on the back deck and I have a porch TV that I found, and it was on the side of the road with a free sign on it. So that's my porch TV. Put the baseball game on and have a glass of bourbon after the kids go to bed. Like that's kind of the nice, that's kind of the me time. The one that I want to be around. Right now I have two that I'm not quite so wild about. I actually have three. So this could definitely be one of them.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I want to drink. The thing is, when I like them, they don't last long. So,
isn't that the point? So, not to go back into the episode that we did last week, but there was a guy in one of those Facebook groups, and he showed he had 25 unopened bottles of whiskey. Like, the purpose of it is to drink it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess some of these guys collect it, and I guess wine people do the same thing, or they're saving things for a special occasion. But it's like,
well, some of them are so old or expensive, and you don't want to open it. You just have it to say you have it, which to me that's pretty dumb. But it actually reminds me, there's some kid that was scamming people on wine and making a ton of money off of swapping labels off of bottles, and all these super pretentious wine douches. He was fooling them. So, I wish we had a Jamie here that he could look that up.
Right.
And so, it was some Asian kid did it and made millions of dollars scamming people on bottles of wine. And people are so stupid. Some famous politician in Virginia was was fell for it.
There was a kids TV show that kind of that was the plot line for the show.
Yeah.
For like they ran it over multiple months. Like the kid's dad was in jail, and she was now going to run a job where like she was working at this restaurant and she was swapping wine labels and selling them to people. Like she was giving the customers the cheapy wine with the good label.
Yeah.
And she was selling the really good wine unmarked for a discounted price.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like that's exactly what this kid was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, but anyway, I like this one. In the next couple of weeks, we'll do like a bourbon taste. We'll do like a blind taste test of a bunch of them, like maybe 4 or 5. But we were talking about Tucker. That was what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So my question is this:
Sour Grapes.
It
was a documentary.
Okay.
And it was a counterfeiter befriended a bunch of rich and powerful people, sold millions of. So I'll have to see. I'm not sure what the kid's name was, but yeah, he ended up. Yes. Defrauded a whole bunch of people, which those I'm like, okay, they're victims, but I'm kind of okay with it because you're being a douche to begin with.
Well, that's another thing. Like, so for me, like with wine, I'm not a wine guy, and the only wines I really like are like sweet wines, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want like a Riesling dessert wine. No, I want like a wine.
Yeah.
So I found some on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. That I really, really like. But it's funny, like if I ever sit down with actual wine people, I could tell like I'm like, hey, you gotta try this. They try and like, oh, it's very nice. It's like you could tell it's like not up to the snobbery level.
Yeah.
I was like, man, screw you guys. This tastes good.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that the point of like you want to drink something that tastes good and can get you a little smashed? Like, isn't that the point of alcohol? Like, let's face it, what is alcohol about?
Yeah.
Like, we're all trying to get a little buzz on. Yeah, we're not doing it for the. If we want stuff for taste, we just drink Kool-Aid.
Right.
Because Kool-Aid's amazing.
Coke. I love Coke.
Yeah. I know.
Coca-Cola, not cocaine.
No, well, could be in there.
Yeah.
That and Coca-Cola can strip the innards of you. Yeah. Apparently, like they use Coke for like a lot of strange stuff.
Oh yeah, I used to drink a ton of it. I barely drink it now. Like I'll drink it when I go out to eat. But like an ice cold Coca-Cola. Like if I go to like a barbecue or something and someone has a cooler and they have like cans of Coke in there, I'm definitely drinking one.
For me, it was always the Coca-Cola from McDonald's. Apparently, they had like a special formulation for McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
And it was like extra sweet. It just was so good. Which, by the way, at the end of this, we should probably give a weight loss update because we haven't done that in like 4 weeks. We haven't done one almost a month. But going back to Tucker, so Tucker's going to eventually either his contract's just going to run out, or he's going to do a buyout, or they're going to give him a severance. Something's going to happen where he's a free agent. Some people said, though, they're taking him off the air and they're not going to let him do anything until after the 2024 election. And that's going to hurt Donald. It'll hurt Donald Trump. It'll hurt DeSantis because the voice of conservatives is gone. I don't know if that's going to be true, but because I don't think anything can stop him from doing guest spots. So his voice will still be there somewhere.
But here's the thing. You've got a bunch of people out there that are already conspiracy leaning anyway. If you were to do that, you're just pouring gasoline on that fire.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, seriously, that would be, like, they already think you're all crooked and in bed together anyway. And you probably are. But go and do that. Now they have Hannity still on Fox. And Hannity and Trump, I used to, I'd be like, dude, it's almost like your North Korean state TV talking about dear leader.
Right.
Like, it's bad. Like, what is this? So you still have that aspect. But Tucker was one of the few, on maybe the only one, that was kind of anti-war. didn't really go after it. Now the left called him the pro-Russia, this, that, the other. But it's just because they're all getting their checks written by the establishment, the big defense and all that stuff. So that's why they would go that. But Hannity's he's not anti-war. He's anti anything Joe Biden does.
He's a neocon.
Yeah.
He's straight up pro-war. He is the establishment.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. And you're going to think I'm nuts. So normally I won't listen to Stephen A. Smith, right? The guy loves to hear himself talk. Mm-hmm. And he started a new podcast. Everyone in their asshole has a podcast, right? Including us two assholes.
Right. But ours is older than Stephen A. Smith's.
Correct. We're the only people. We've been around over 2 years, believe it or not.
Yeah.
For all you out there. If you've been listening since day one, you've been listening to us for 2 years. I don't know what's wrong with you, but thank you. So he started one. He recently did an interview with Clay Travis. Now, for people who don't know, Clay Travis started a sports reporting outfit called Outkick. He used to be with ESPN. He was with Fox Sports. Then he did his own thing with Outkick. Outkick got very, very because when ESPN tilted their stuff to be very political, he did not, or he went the other way politically, and he gained a very large audience. Fox brought him and Buck Sexton in to replace Rush Limbaugh. At the same time, though, they bought Outkick. Mm-hmm. So now Outkick is part of basically Fox Sports. They're basically part of it now. But he still runs Outkick, so he can run it as he sees fit. So he brought in Tommy Lahren, who used to be a Fox News person.
Yeah.
So Clay Travis is not of the ESPN woke model. And Stephen A. Smith interviewed him on his podcast called No Mercy. It was a really good interview. They both had a good rapport with each other. Mm-hmm. They both agreed on a lot of stuff. And Stephen A. Smith got flamed by the left media for doing this.
Yeah.
He even went further, said he wants to interview Candace Owens. Stephen A. Smith might be going in a different direction from ESPN. Mm-hmm. Sooner rather than later. He might see the writing on the wall with all the ESPN layoffs, because he's the highest paid guy over there.
Yeah.
He might be saying, look, I'm not long for ESPN. They're going to fire me. So he might be trying to pull the liberal voice with conservative guests. And that there might be a place for that somewhere. Mm-hmm. But if he ever did a Tucker interview, like with those two opposing views, like you're talking like the largest name in sports media, liberal sports media,
yeah,
and the largest name in conservative news, mm-hmm. and they do an interview, shoot, man, he can make that a 3-episode podcast, and it would do ratings through the roof.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, and I said this a whole bunch, when the populist left and the populist right figures out that they have a lot more in common than they have, than they thought. That is what the neocons and neolibs and that is what they're fearful of.
Well, and they're doing everything they can to separate the two. I will say this: the Democrat Party right now, their ability to recruit young kids is unparalleled. Mm-hmm. You go on TikTok where the kids are, and there are these two kids. I think one's like Harry Sisson and I forget something Chuck Mowry or something Mowry. They're these two kids. They look like they're teenagers, but I think they're in their 20s. Mm-hmm. It's douche bro times 2. Like they look like bros.
Yeah.
They're literally like going right after who would normally be considered young Republicans with the way they look. And they just hammer Democrat talking points in these TikTok videos and on Twitter. And then on Twitter, you got the Krasenstein brothers, JoJo from Jers, Brooklyn Dad. Literally another 20 to 30 people who just post out the the Democrat establishment shit.
Yeah.
Like the Democrat ground game online, it's basically a psyop against kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because the GOP doesn't have anyone doing any kind of advertising. It's not even advertising. It's like these kids believe this shit. And it's like they're pushing it as their ideas. Like they're great salespeople. They work for a company called Pallet Marketing though.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's who they're employed by. So the DNC pays Pallet Marketing, and Pallet Marketing pays these kids to make the TikTok videos with the talking points.
And like no one bothers to look. Not even like don't even take a deep dive into it. Just open the cover of the bullshit book and see that it's like, oh, these are young, fresh voices. No, it's coming directly from Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all the, and you know that guy that shit his pants.
What was that guy?
God, who is it? Jerry Nadler.
Yes, that video is hysterical.
And Joe Biden, like, and it's coming directly from these people, from these clowns.
Mm-hmm.
But no one. They're like, oh, they're young and cool and hip, but they're getting their marching orders from the geriatric patient in the White House.
Well, and all the and then you got all the Antifa kids. Mm-hmm. Remember the Just the Idea Antifa?
Yeah.
These militant Antifa kids. So eventually they get arrested. Right? They go to the wrong place, get arrested, they're not let go immediately.
Yeah.
So their names get recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out a lot of these kids are from these wealthy liberal families.
Yeah.
Which is why they get let out.
Yeah.
Because their parents are very influential.
Yeah.
And they either have the connection with the liberal DA or whoever it is, and they get the kid out.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they get the kid out before the name's announced or the name's even on record. But that's this ground game that the Democrats have that the GOP never has. Mm-hmm. It's why most people, like these white liberal kids, don't end up voting GOP until they're in their 30s to 40s when they finally figure out it was all bullshit. Right? And I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. My dad was not liberal.
Yeah.
My mom was partially liberal. Mm-hmm. But you got to keep in mind, they're both from New England.
Yeah.
So my dad's version of conservative isn't really conservative. I mean,
yeah, John F. Kennedy.
Right, yeah. But I mean, my theory on John F. Kennedy and the reason why him and Bobby Kennedy got killed was because they were trying to actually move the party, the Democrat Party, and they were like, "Oh no, you don't."
Yeah.
And pew, and they were gone. Same thing with MLK. Mm-hmm. Like, look, I'm going to wear my helmet here, but I think that was all part of the same plot.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't have any of this.
Yep.
And no, you want to work together?
Probably Malcolm X too.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt that.
But no, the FBI had a file on MLK, and he was in Memphis because that was after the passage of the Civil Rights Act. He was working something about the poor people's movement or working people's movement or something like that. So, yeah, they were following. They've been spying domestically forever.
Correct.
Like, this is nothing new.
Problem is now that people have access to information, they now know it.
Yeah.
Now it's not conspiracy anymore.
Yeah.
The only people who think it's conspiracy are the people that don't want to know.
Right.
Because that information is out there in front of you.
Yeah. Or the mainstream media.
I mean, we talked about the Restrict Act like last 2 episodes ago. the how vague that is allows law enforcement to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it's not local law enforcement. I'm sorry. That's federal law enforcement doing this. Look, I mean, are there issues with local law enforcement? To me, that's more there are some issues with certain law enforcement officials locally. That's more easily fixable because a majority of the local law enforcement are just they're just straight up guys, like, and girls. Like, they're there to clock in, clock out. If they're called to do something to help, they'll help. Like, it's almost like you go to your job as an accountant. Most of your job is putting numbers in the right places.
Yeah.
There's very few times where you have some emergency and you're really called on to use your skills, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, police officers probably get called in a few more times to use those skills. Yeah, but my point is, a successful day for most local law enforcement is you clock in, you do your 8 to 12 hours, you clock out, and you go home. Everyone's happy. Maybe you wrote a ticket or two. Hopefully you got someone who was nice when you pulled them over, and they said, okay, thank you. And
they catch a bad guy here or there.
Sure. And I'm sure like the other guys who got to go kick in doors probably got a little bit more on them, but whatever. But when you look at the numbers, there isn't a widespread problem with police officers. Now there is, every once in a while you see the clips, and there's one on like Facebook where it's like rate the police officer, and like sometimes the police officer's dick.
Yeah.
Like there was one where this kid was walking down the street and this police officer stopped him. Said, well, people in the neighborhood said you were suspicious. And the kid's like, yeah, I'm just walking. Okay, let him go at that point. Well, this police officer did, and he tried to get him a whole bunch of bullshit because the guy because the kid was being a little bit of a dick.
Sometimes it becomes a dick measuring competition.
Yeah, and the kid was being a little bit of a dick.
Yeah,
and rather than just letting
him want to check their ego.
Yeah, and rather than letting the kid go, they decided to get into it and make up a whole bunch of shit. And the kid knew what he was talking about. The kid knew his law, his rules, or his rights, or whatever it was. And eventually, like, another officer came and like, okay, gotta let him go. Like, but sometimes it doesn't have like whatever. There are one-off situations like that. Some people, and the thing is, some people have a bad fucking day. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, as a police officer, you can't really afford to have a bad day.
Personalities.
Sure.
Some people are just. How many times have you gone to the DMV? And the person you're dealing with is just a complete dick.
Right.
Is everyone at the DM, are they all dicks? No. That one was.
Yeah.
But because you only go there every now and then, your experience is limited. Just like, how many times does the average person get stopped by the police? Not much. So if you deal with that one guy who's just a dick, then you think, oh, well, this guy's they're all like that. Well, it's just that one guy. And the thing is, like, the guy could be completely right in what he's doing, but if he's a dick, then that's what's going to stick out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You're right. And so I don't want to get in that level of it because, that conversation would be a whole nother topic. But with federal law enforcement, you're right. They've been going after the American public. I wouldn't say the American public. They probably went after high profile people at first. But as the agency gets bigger and it gets harder to contain information, like when you looked at like some of the people that the FBI wanted information on or silenced on Twitter from the Twitter files, some of those people only had like 12 followers.
Oh yeah,
like why are you trying to silence that? No one's listening to it anyway.
Right. Like, silence us.
Right. No. Silence us. It doesn't make much of a difference. Right. No one's listening anyway.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Take down our Twitter account? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Super. It's just that level, though. It's like, okay, what's going on here?
But that's when, you think, first of all, I think the federal government's just too big. They're involved in too much. I don't think this is what the founding fathers had envisioned when they first started it. And then you get into post 9/11, Patriot Act. Now they have to justify what they're doing, so they go and they find these terrorists. I think I've spoken about this before, where like they find some loser and they befriend him, and then they say, "Hey, you hate the government, right? Oh yeah, I hate the government. Let's blow the government up." And they make a fake bomb, and then the FBI comes in and locks them up like they're the heroes. Like, dude, you did all of this.
Right.
What was the whole governor of Michigan thing where like they were all feds?
It was a group of, I think it was a group of 20 people. 16 were feds or confidential informants.
Yeah.
They had 4 dudes that weren't involved with it. Like the last 4, and they put the last 4 guys in jail.
Yeah.
It's like, they must have had the worst lawyers on earth to not get that dismissed. Mm-hmm. But it's strange. It's like, why are you? I have a feeling I know why, but to look at the federal government though, can you name me one thing, one mass program or one large program to help the people that's actually run well? And no, I'll stop that. Run well. VA healthcare? Hell no.
No.
Social Security? No, because they keep saying it's insolvent every 3
Yeah.
fucking years. Social Security is another thing that just... I can't stand the way the government has mismanaged that.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, well, it's an entitlement program. No.
You pay into it.
It's an earned income program.
Yeah.
And if the money was managed properly...
Right. And they weren't rating it to pay for other bullshit.
Well, people that don't know, the federal government borrows money from Social Security at an absurdly low interest rate, like almost zero. Uses that money to fund other things. And then tries to tell you it's insolvent.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was done as a pension program, for example, like the state level programs, for example, the New York State Pension Program, CalPERS in California, the Canadian pension system. These are all programs that are allowed to invest in the stock market or in other investment vehicles.
Yeah.
Even bonds, for crying out loud. Bonds would earn you 6 to 7% on the money, not 0.5%.
Yeah.
Or zero. They're borrowing. They're being allowed to borrow and nothing, and they're making Social Security insolvent. Whereas if Social Security, I believe, was put in place in the 70s. No, earlier.
Roosevelt did it.
So
30s.
30s.
Yeah.
If the money was allowed to be invested the way it should have been, it would be not only solvent, but the payouts would be bigger.
Yeah.
Because of how much money would be in it. But the government screwed that up.
Yeah. They screw everything up.
Hey, want to know how they screwed up Medicare and Medicaid? Well, up until about last year, they couldn't negotiate drug prices, so they overpaid for everything.
Yeah.
Everything. You made healthcare cost 5 times what it should have.
Well, it's anything they get involved in, the cost goes up.
Yes.
Students, education. So when they know that when these colleges and universities know that everyone can go to school and they're going to have a federally backed loan, they just make the cost go up because the kids are going to get the money to do it. I think Princeton's endowment and the return on that investment covers all of their operating costs. Everyone who goes to Princeton could go there for free. But they still charge $60,000 a year to go there because the government will continue to write loans for people to do it. Say you had daycare, right? And they said, hey, we're going to take daycare and we're going to give everyone X amount to supplement daycare. So all the daycare providers, so like say you and I we probably wouldn't meet the minimum income. Like our income would be above what we'd qualify for, but we still need daycare. So say we have a daycare provider that's we're able to spend $250 a week for daycare. For an infant, that's probably reasonable. But say the feds come and say, hey, we're going to give everyone $500 per week. Well, they're going to raise us to $500 per week because they figure, you can't get the government subsidy? Okay, well then see ya, because someone who can get the government subsidy will. So you've just artificially increased the price of daycare.
Yeah, or the other part of it is if everyone can now, and this is going to sound awful, but if everyone can now afford daycare, everyone is now, and there's 3 good daycares. Everyone wants to go to those 3 daycares. Those 3 daycares can now up the price.
Yeah.
Because they've got 20 spots and they got 30 people that want to get them. So they're going to charge more for them.
Yeah.
And so people are now going to pay over the subsidy to go to those daycares. So you're right. The cost of daycare is going to go up. It's inflation. It is what it is. Sorry for coughing in everyone's ear there. But I'm trying to think of other large government programs that are run well. Certainly not defense. We overpay for ships, planes, bombs.
Yeah.
Because, well, we have to. Otherwise, they won't make them. Because we spend more than the next 9 countries combined on defense.
Yeah.
We're keeping Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Boeing. Well, maybe not Boeing because they make airplanes and the private air industry buys a ton of those. But we're keeping a lot of these companies open. Yeah. Because we're the largest customer.
There's no wars being fought. Oh, wait, there is. Now we're dropping bombs on Ukraine.
Sure. Look, there's always going to be a war to be fought. We're going to drop bombs on islands with no people just because we got to use up bombs.
Yeah.
We're gonna say there's some dictator there who's ethnically cleansing somebody, and there's probably nobody there.
Yeah.
Like they give a crap about the Sudan. They're gonna let them die.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're gonna probably drop some bombs in there too. We're gonna side with one side. We're gonna drop some bombs because we need to drop some bombs so we can buy new bombs and support our friends.
Right.
And McDonnell Douglas or whoever's making bombs. I don't even know who makes the bombs.
Yeah.
And we can't have a ship that's perfectly good. We can't keep that running for another 15 years, so we got to build another one of those. At a cost us $50 billion for a new aircraft carrier. So let's go with that. Even though the ones we have are nuclear powered and can run for 100 years without refueling.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to think of a government program that's really well run.
There's a federal interstate system that was pretty good.
Yeah, but that was done way back in what?
The 50s. Eisenhower did it.
And we haven't updated it.
And it was actually done to transport nuclear weapons.
Yeah. And we certainly haven't kept it in good shape. Yeah. Anyone who's driven down 95 in the past 10 years, good luck not breaking an axle.
Yeah.
I mean...
Or roads they're constantly working on.
Sure.
Like the west side of 695. They've been working on it forever. The Springfield interchange.
It costs too much to move the orange barrels at this point because they've been there so long. Yeah. So where does Tucker go from here? That was the focus, right? Where does Tucker go? I don't know if they let him on the air. You're right though. I think if they don't let him on the air before the election, the conspiracies will come through the roof. But at this point, though, what's the downside of that? Yeah. Who cares if there's conspiracy theorists?
Yeah.
We can shut them up.
Yeah, and just wait a couple years before they're proven right.
Sure. Yeah.
I see him going, when he does come back, it's not going to be an internet platform. Someone will throw podcasts, maybe a whole channel type of deal. He'd make more money independently outside of Fox News anyway, or outside of the mainstream media conglomerates, which is really a dying breed anyway. Like, they keep shouting and trying to say how good they are while constantly undercutting their own credibility. So they can only lie so much.
Yeah, I mean,
because really every major issue that's come up, they've lied about.
All right, who was the biggest voice in the conservative movement for years upon years?
You had Rush Limbaugh on AM talk radio.
Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
This is where my mind's going. What if they kind of said to Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, look, thanks for taking over for the main man. Because you never want to be the guy that replaces the legend.
Yeah.
You want to be the next guy in.
Yeah.
What if Tucker did Rush Limbaugh on steroids? So you put him on the AM radio.
Mm-hmm.
But you put him on FM radio. You put him on a live podcast at the same, all at the same time. Like, you basically multicast him.
Yep.
And
Rumble, YouTube.
And he would own it.
Yeah.
Let him own it. Or maybe whoever owns that Rush Limbaugh spot. I think if he did that, though, and he did the AM talk show in the morning, I think that's where he would probably be most successful, especially if he multicast it. Because a lot of the conservative voices in the movement now do evening shows. Well, I shouldn't say that. Crowder is the biggest name, although he's under some fire right now because of the whole divorce thing.
Mm-hmm.
He does a morning show, but he starts, I think, at 9 or 10 in the morning, where Rush was an early morning guy, I think.
Rush was lunchtime.
Was he? Oh, I thought he was 6 a.m. He was okay. So he's maybe he does do the morning though.
AM radio is still pretty much dominated by conservatives because old people listen to it.
Right.
But
imagine if you could do AM, FM, YouTube, Rumble, podcast, and just multicast it out there, and that way people could listen to it whenever they want.
Yeah.
but you hit a drive time in the morning on the radio, or like you said, or hit afternoon.
Yeah,
hit a drive time. I mean, I think that's probably where his earning potential is greatest on his own. But like you said, though, does he want to go on his own? He's got that Swanson money, though.
Yeah,
he's part of the Swanson family. He could, and he's been making what, $20 million a year.
He doesn't have to do anything,
right? But he could probably fund his own.
Yeah,
because starting a program, we've proven this. Starting a podcast and all this other stuff. If you have the know-how, a little bit of know-how,
yeah.
Other than the AM and FM radio, which I know nothing about, you can start this for $500, and just do it from your home.
Yeah.
AM and FM, I don't know enough about it. You need someone that owns the stations and the stuff. But
you become a syndicated.
Yeah,
and that's like Rush Limbaugh was the EIB network.
Yeah,
excellence in broadcasting, and he was just syndicated. Yeah. So different radio stations would cover him depending, wherever you were, and you eventually get Ben Shapiro has a syndicated radio.
People thought that he would go to Daily Wire because Daily Wire kind of fits his mold.
Yeah,
that's a possibility. I mean, Daily Wire's got some money to throw at him. I mean, and they could put him on all those platforms.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the most logical landing point for him is Daily Wire. Whether they would do an AM and FM show with him, I don't know, because they don't really do that. Or do they? Does Shapiro do a radio show?
Yeah,
I know, like Larry Elder at the Epic Times does, but he's been a long time LA radio show host for years. For those that don't know who Larry Elder is, look him up. Very intelligent person. His mentor was Thomas Sowell. For the people that don't know who that is, look him up.
It's funny because when he was running against Gavin Newsom in that recall election, he was called the black face of white supremacy.
Oh my God, that was I can't believe someone actually said that.
And then all the barking seals were, Well,
and then they use that term for anybody, anyone who was black that talked like with a conservative mindset.
Yeah,
they were the black face of white supremacy.
Apparently, you're not allowed to have your opinion.
No,
independent of your skin color. So
like, that made no sense to me, but it was effective and it was catchy, and people bought into it. God, like that's the weird. People will buy into anything. Like, they just want to belong to a group, and they'll buy into anything that belongs to it. And I don't know if it's loneliness or what. I don't know why people are that. I don't want to say gullible because gullible is not the right word. It's people. Desperate's not the right word either. I don't know whether they have that much longing to belong.
Yeah, well, it comes to the whole, going back to the mask shaming. Look at me. I'm following all the rules. I'm wearing my mask, and you're not, and I'm better than you. So it's you need to belong to a group. You need to identify, and you need to feel better than somebody else. And then some people are just mean. They just want to be dicks, and that gives them a perfect excuse to be a dick. Remember the videos of all those old boomers yelling at people for, "You're going to kill me," and like approaching people who weren't wearing a mask while wearing their 18 masks, saying how that person was going to kill them. Stand over there, dude.
Right.
Problem solved. But no, you had to come over here. So,
yeah. And don't remember, I get it though. I understand the need to want to belong.
Yeah.
Because I want to belong. I just don't want to belong to that cult or that cult or that cult. Even we talked about this last week, even the whiskey cult.
Yeah.
It's like part of it makes me cringe.
See, I'm happy being left alone. Just leave me alone.
But here's the thing, you want to be left alone, but you like to belong to the pool.
I think the pool's a little bit different than.
It's a social group.
Yeah, but it's different than wearing your safety muzzle to be a dick to people.
But if doing that one thing gets you friends, if it gets you out of being lonely,
maybe it's easy. I got plenty of friends. Maybe it's different because I'm not.
But you haven't. But you haven't because of things that you've joined.
Yeah,
like whether it be a neighborhood that you live in, a pool that you belong to,
a sense of community, that sort of thing.
Right.
And there are plenty of people
club.
There are plenty of people that don't have that.
A lot of people don't.
And they used to get that through church.
Yes.
And no one goes to church anymore. So
I equate it like to the Elks. Like I want to belong to the Elks Club.
Yeah.
You like to belong to the Elks. I mean, because you're looking for people that are like-minded that you enjoy being around.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you're new to an area, or you're new to whatever. You're new to the political sphere, or online, or you're looking for some place to join. And if you want to belong to a group, and the group that's willing to accept you likes to suck on donkey dick, well, you might suck on donkey dick to join that group.
If you're desperate enough,
and you might look down and yell at the people who like bear penis,
right?
Because it's not donkey dick, right? I mean, look, it's a little extreme, but you know what I'm saying. Like that's the thing. Like if the donkey dicks and the bear penises don't like each other, you're gonna deride bear penis and you're gonna love some donkey dick.
Talk shit on the bear penis people.
Damn right you are. Because that's going to ingratiate.
Extol the virtues of the donkey.
And that's because that's going to ingratiate you with the donkey dick people.
True.
And maybe they'll get you some more friends quicker than you would have gotten it if you didn't.
Mm-hmm. Or if you have no ability to socialize or make friends of your own, which there's a whole lot of that out there.
There is. I'm just saying, like, I think everybody, to a certain extent, joins a group and maybe compromises a little bit to be able to join a group. You know, maybe like they don't say exactly what they want to say to the people in the donkey dick group because they want the donkey dick group, the people, like they want them to like them. Mm-hmm. I'm using the word donkey dick a lot in this episode. This is getting a little extreme. I should have probably thought of a different example. Yeah. I should have definitely come up with something else. But you get what I'm saying. You're willing to compromise. Like you don't totally disbelieve what you're saying about them, about the other group. But you maybe go a little bit harder at it so that the people that you're trying to ingratiate yourself with take in a little faster. Mm-hmm. But then after a while, you might think, well, geez, I really don't think about that. I don't really think that way about those other people. And so now you're wondering why you're in this group. Especially if you find another group that takes you, that wants you in just as much as the other. Except now you can be more real. You're being more true to yourself by being in the group that likes banana peels. Mm-hmm. Banana peel group. You love bananas. You love the banana peels. You know, and you don't hate the apple peel group. You know what I'm saying? Like the banana peel group ain't making fun of the apple peel group.
I spent the last 3 years telling you how much I hated them.
Right.
Right.
So I'm just saying, like, I understand the need and the want to belong, and I also understand that people can go overboard to try to ingratiate themselves with those groups. Unfortunately, there's some real world consequences with some of these cults. Mm-hmm. And like, there's no real world consequence with us joining the whiskey cult.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can still be ourselves and form our own little sect. Which, by the way, go to drivewaybeerspodcast.com/donate to join our cult. But there's no real world ramifications to this. Like, no one's dying because we decided drink whiskey over beer, right? But we're not making fun of the beer people either. That's the difference. So, where does Tucker end up? That's how somehow that we keep trying to come back to where Tucker's going to go. Maybe Tucker will end up in our basement, in this basement here. If Tucker's listening,
it's an open invitation.
Open. Anytime you want, you come down. You talk to us in this basement. We don't earn jack for money, so you don't have to worry about us being money motivated at all. If you want, people want to sponsor that show, come on over. Let me know. Contact at drivewaybeerspodcast.com. Promotion # promotion.
He's got a home here.
That's right.
And Driveway Beers Productions.
Driveway Beers Productions, right? I mean, so yeah, and I don't know. I wish him the best of luck. He'll land somewhere. He really will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope Don Lemon lands somewhere, and he can be who he really wants to be.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that guy. I don't know.
Well, no one knows.
I don't want anything bad to happen to him.
I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone. But shoot, if he rides off into the sunset and lives with his husband and just lives out his life.
That's
good on you, man.
I mean, that's I feel like I'm gonna sleep on my large pile of money at night. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, right.
But I think there is a certain degree of narcissism in these folks that keeps them. They have to stay in the public view.
Yeah, very few people that put themselves out there like this, like we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. Someone asked me the other day. They said, "Oh, you guys are going to be famous someday." I was like, "No." I said, "If we ever get to that point, because we've talked about this, I'd probably want to shut it down more.
Yeah. If
we ever got to a point where we couldn't, like, if people recognize us and stuff, I'm not comfortable with that. Mm-mm. I don't mind talking to this microphone. I hope people can relate to it when we do it. But I'm not comfortable with my life changing. I like my life. Mm-hmm. I like the comfort I have. I like the marriage I have. I don't want things to interfere with how I live."
What's that movie, Don't Look Up?
Which one?
Remember that movie? Did you ever watch Don't
I did
Look
not
Up?
see it. I heard it was good, though.
It was. And so I think Matt Damon's the professor.
Okay.
Who discovers the asteroid. Him and there's a girl that works for him. I think it was Jennifer Lawrence, maybe. They discover this asteroid. So he becomes this famous guy overnight. He's on all the talk show hosts, this and that. But he's got a nice wife, lives in a little house, drives an old Honda Accord, like your typical, what you assume, a college professor. Now all of a sudden he's like famous. All these women love him. He starts banging like the prototypical TV news host. I forget who played her. And his life just falls apart. Meanwhile, like, there is an actual asteroid coming to destroy the Earth. So, in the end, he wishes he had his family and plain Jane wife in suburbia back.
Hell yeah, man.
So,
like, for some people, that old school American dream is still the American dream. That's my American dream. Mm-hmm. I live here. I got my 2 kids, my 1 wife, and our house.
Yep.
And I'm perfectly happy with this. Mm-hmm. I don't want fame. I wouldn't mind if this thing made some more money. But you want to know what? With Cheers and Spirits and the Arnold Station Plaza, we earn, like, with their sponsorship, this podcast doesn't cost us any money.
Yeah.
Except for the bourbon that we drink.
Right. We probably would have bought that anyway.
Well, yeah, look, they're just supporting a habit at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're literally making it so we can drink it with a microphone in our face. Yeah, we were going to drink it anyway.
Yeah, that was happening.
Yeah, same thing with the beer. I mean, we did beer episodes. We were drinking the beer anyway.
Yeah,
we might not have drinking the horrible beer.
Right. I wouldn't have drinking the banquet beer and the natty ice. But
I don't know about that. I definitely would not have drinking the Hams or the Fosters. That's for damn sure.
No.
But you don't think that our group of friends would have been stupid enough to one night say, "Hey, we should do a bad beer drink"?
Right.
No, we're that stupid.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a front, by the way.
It's not an act.
No, we would literally drink the stuff, the taste testings that we've done. We would have done that anyway.
Yeah.
We just put it on. Like I said, we shoved a mic in our faces and did it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was funny to get that question, because 2 years ago I never would have thought anyone would have said that to us. But it was an interesting, like, "Oh, when you guys get famous, what are you gonna get a student?" Like, no, I'm not doing any of that. Like,
yeah.
Like, if I can't walk out, like, it's never gonna happen. I don't know. It's almost a stupid question, but, like, I don't want any of that.
Yeah, so you ask your 10-year-old, what are you spending your signing bonus on? Like, what?
Yeah, like I said, if we ever earn a little extra money out of this, great, nice little retirement. I'm all for it.
Maybe we'll keep the boat in the water.
But I'm not doing. Someone wanted us to do like a promotional tour. Like, someone literally asked if we wanted to do like a promotional episode. Like, we went out and recorded it in like some place with an audience, and we talked about it, and we were both like,
yeah,
I don't think so. This ain't that kind of thing.
Mm-mm.
I think it would be interesting. Like, if we didn't do like a show, Like, I think the pitch back was, well, what if we brought other podcasters on and we just talked about how to start a podcast? Like, it wouldn't be a show like we do here.
Yeah.
It'd be more like an informative thing, right? That I don't mind, because that's informative. Someone can get some use out of it, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. We were like, do we really want to? We talked about it for like a month, though.
Yeah.
And we just decided, no, we're good.
Yeah.
So, Tucker is not that way, though. And we appreciate you listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Thank you to Cheers and Spirits in the Arnold Station Plaza. If you do need beer, wine, liquor, please head over there. Let them know you heard us, and thank them for the sponsorship of the show. And if you can, subscribe. That's our handshake agreement. All right. We'll see you guys next time.